So I just watched Rustin, a brand new movie on Netflix directed by George C. Wolfe, who most recently did the Chadwick Boseman film Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. The film stars Coleman Domingo playing Bayard Rustin, one of the main advisors to Martin Luther King Jr., and it's about pretty much the trying to build up this big rally that happened in Washington, D.C., where the famous I Had a Dream speech happened. And it's a film that deals with all the civil rights stuff that you can imagine. It has all the themes that you've seen in movies before, and it tells a really kind of emotional story that's really centered around the performance from Coleman Domingo. This is a movie that's getting a lot of hype for this performance, a lot of buzz about an Oscar win, potentially, and I gotta be honest, Coleman Domingo is an amazing actor. I've seen him in a lot of stuff, and he's yet to really break through as this big, this actor that people really resonate with, an actor that's in big films over and over and over. He's a guy that's really been kind of quiet. I remember seeing him for the first time in Fear the Walking Dead, and just thinking that he stood out in that show like a sore thumb, and just being this fantastic actor that was just working at a level that was just kind of beyond a lot of the other people that were working in the Walking Dead universe. He was just a phenomenal actor, and his few scenes that he's in Euphoria, he also steals the show. Now, he's got a big year ahead of him, really, even though it's the end of the year, because we have Rustin, and he's also in The Color Purple, which he's also getting Oscar buzz for. This might be a double nomination year for him, which is kind of crazy. And yeah, the hype for this performance in this movie is real. He is amazing in this film. It is so different from anything I've ever seen him in. It's more lighthearted, his character's more flamboyant and loud and colorful, and it is just so awesome to watch, and you can't help but to love this character and root for him through every step of the way, through his genius, his ability to bring people together and lead, his ability to be who he is and continue to fight for who he is. And it's such a beautiful performance, and I do think it's very deserving of the Oscar. Do I think he's gonna win it? I don't know. We'll have to see. But he is amazing in this film, and proves why he should be one of the biggest actors going forward in the next decade or so. He should be getting a lot of bigger roles, and hopefully we'll see him in movies like this in the future. But besides the performance, I don't really have much to say about this movie that I loved. I thought it was a generic biopic about the civil rights movement that I've seen a million times. Granted, it did tackle the theme of, if we're going to fight for this issue, if we're going to fight for freedom and rights for African Americans, are we also going to fight for the other people that are discriminated against? And I thought that was a very interesting way to tackle this time period, and also tackle the whole, everything that was going on during the civil rights movement. And it's definitely fitting, and I thought that was really great. But to be completely honest, I was just kind of bored watching this. Granted, it is paced well, and it sort of flew by, which is nice, and I'll give it credit for that. It wasn't like boring, but it's just like, you know where it's going, you know what's gonna happen, and the drama is never heightened enough to really feel like the stakes are there. I also think the fact that Domingo's performance is so great and so wonderful is honestly a detriment to the story. And let me be clear, it's not his fault. He did his job. He put an Oscar-worthy performance together, but the script here and the casting of the other characters made it so this very important time in history, it felt like this person, Rustin, should have been the leader of the civil rights movement. He should have been this big person. And I think it's because the way that they depicted the Martin Luther King Jr. character was just kind of boring. Like, he just kind of seemed like this side dude. And because of that, you never felt that, like, this guy really needed to work with Martin Luther King. We really needed to center the civil rights movement around him, which, of course, in real life is exactly what it was. There are some other people that pop in that just aren't very memorable. Chris Rock's in this movie for a couple scenes, and Jeffrey Wright, I think, was actually pretty good. I remember a lot of the stuff that he did. But ultimately, a lot of the stuff that's actually going on in the story, a lot of the stuff that they do with us, many of the themes centered around the civil rights movement, and ultimately building up to where the film gets to, are just things that we've seen a million times in film before, and it doesn't exactly offer any new sort of flavor or any new sort of, emotional stake or heightened possibilities in this plot. Like, it's just kind of reused and recycled stuff, but centered around an Oscar-worthy performance that I hope to God will get the recognition it deserves. This movie reminds me of something like Darkest Hour with Gary Oldman. That's another film that's kind of just long and boring, and it's something that's been done before. We know the story of the beginning of World War II, and we know the story of everything that happened in England and everything going on there, and we've seen a million movies and TV shows about it. I mean, for Christ's sake, a year before it, we had seen Dunkirk, which was kind of set in that same little time period, and then we have this, Darkest Hour movie, which is a solid film, but it's just kind of boring, but it's centered around this amazing performance from Gary Oldman, and that's kind of what that reminded me of. Ultimately, I will recommend this movie to everybody. I do think you should go watch just to appreciate the acting performance of Coleman Domingo, but overall, I can't get this movie anything more than a 2.5 out of 5. Rustin is just okay. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe for more. Make sure to turn on notifications. Also, if you like what you see here and you want to help me out, join my subscription thing. I really appreciate it if you did. I'll see you guys in the next video.